कानपुर से लगभग 30 किलोमीटर पश्चिम की ओर गंगा के निकट खीरेश्वर महादेव जी का एक अति प्राचीन मंदिर है। यह शब्द खीरेश्वर क्षीरेश्वर का अपभ्रंश है। जनश्रुति के अनुसार जब भगवान रामचंद्र पिठूर में स्थित वाल्मीकि आश्रम में गए थे, तब उन्होंने खीरेश्वर महादेव जी की स्थापना की थी। इसी प्रसिद्ध मंदिर से लगा हुआ तारापति का नेवादा नामक प्राचीन गांव है। स्वर्गीय डॉक्टर पंडित लालमणि जी के पूर्वज इसी गांव के निवासी थे। यह बौद्धकालीन नगर कहलाता है। आज भी वहां पुरानी पुरातत्व की चीजें मिलती रहती हैं। इनके पिता पंडित रघुवंशी लाल जी मिश्र का बचपन भी इसी गांव में बीता। जीविकोपार्जन के निमित्त इनके पिताजी कानपुर नगर में आकर रहने लगे थे। पिता श्री कानिकुब्ज ब्राह्मण संस्कृत के अच्छे ज्ञाता एवं धार्मिक प्रवृत्ति के व्यक्ति थे। इनकी माता रानी देवी भगवान के प्रति पूर्ण आस्थावान थी। इसी धर्मभीरु दंपत्ति की अंतिम संतान के रूप में 11 अगस्त 1924 को लालमणि का जन्म हुआ। सन 1930 के कानपुर में हुए भयावह हिंदू मुस्लिम दंगे में कानपुर की शांति छिन्न भिन्न हो गई। इनके पिता कानपुर से कलकत्ता चले गए। पिता की स्वीकृति लेकर पंडित गोवर्धन लाल ने लालमणि जी को शिक्षा देना प्रारंभ किया। रामायण के अतिरिक्त उन्हें थोड़े से ध्रुवपद अंग के गीत तथा भजन आदि का भी ज्ञान था। उन सभी बंदिशों को लालमणि जी ने 3 महीने में याद कर लिया। सन 1940 में पिता के निधन के पश्चात लालमणि कलकत्ता से अपने गांव तारापति नेवादा वापस आ गए। सन 1944 के आसपास कानिकुब्ज कॉलेज कानपुर के प्रिंसिपल पंडित बालकृष्ण पांडे ने इन्हें अपनी संस्था में संगीत शिक्षक के रूप में रख लिया। कानिकुब्ज कॉलेज के साथ ही मिश्र जी सुभाष कॉलेज उन्नाव में भी संगीत पढ़ाने जाते थे। सन 1944 से ही आपको उस्ताद अब्दुल अजीज खां पटियाले वालों की बट्टा बीन प्रभावित करने लगी थी। वीणा वादन की परंपरा बनाए रखने के लिए आपने उस्ताद अब्दुल अजीज खां से इसके प्राविधिक ज्ञान की प्राप्ति की तथा गुप्त अभ्यास प्रारंभ कर दिया। डॉक्टर रतन जनकर के निमंत्रण पर 1950 में आपने श्री भातखंडे जयंती के उपलक्ष्य में लखनऊ मैरिज कॉलेज में अनेक कलाकारों के समक्ष प्रथम बार विचित्र वीणा का वादन किया। कलाकारों और कला प्रेमियों के प्रोत्साहन ने आपको प्रेरित किया। तब से आपका मुख्य वाद्य विचित्र वीणा ही बन गया। सन 1947 में आपने निकट सहयोगियों को लेकर कानपुर में भारतीय संगीत परिषद की स्थापना की, जिसके अंतर्गत 16 अगस्त 1948 में गांधी संगीत महाविद्यालय की स्थापना हुई। इस संस्था के खुलते ही मिश्र जी ने अपना सारा ध्यान कानिकुब्ज कॉलेज के अध्यापन त्याग कर इस संस्था के उत्थान की तरफ लगा दिया। सन 1951 में विश्वविख्यात नृत्याचार्य उदय शंकर जी ने आपको अपने दल का संगीत निर्देशक नियुक्त किया। इस समय आपकी अवस्था केवल 27 वर्ष थी। उदय शंकर जी के साथ आपने 1951 से 1954 तक श्रीलंका, इंग्लैंड, फ्रांस, बेल्जियम, अमेरिका, कनाडा आदि का भ्रमण किया। इन प्रदर्शनों में आपके संगीत निर्देशन और वीणा वादन की समाचार पत्रों में बड़ी प्रशंसा छपी। विश्व भ्रमण में आपने यह अनुभव किया कि संगीतकार के लिए उच्च शिक्षा भी आवश्यक है। आपने क्रमशः साहित्य रत्न, आगरा विश्वविद्यालय से एमए तथा काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय से अनुसंधान कार्य के लिए पीएचडी की उपाधियां प्राप्त की। 1955 में आपने अखिल भारतीय गांधर्व महाविद्यालय मंडल के प्रथम रजिस्ट्रार के रूप में उक्त संस्था के कार्य को व्यवस्था प्रदान की। कार्यालय के अधिक कार्यों के होने से अपनी कला साधना में कमी होते देख आपने शीघ्र ही मंडल के कार्यों से मुक्ति ली। अपने मित्रों के दबाव के कारण आपने 1957 में गांधी संगीत महाविद्यालय के प्रिंसिपल पद का कार्यभार संभाला, किंतु संगीत मार्तंड पंडित ओंकार नाथ ठाकुर आपको काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय के संगीत संकाय में ले जाना चाहते थे। अतएव काफी दबाव पड़ने पर आपने कानपुर छोड़कर वाराणसी जाना स्वीकार कर लिया और 1958 की फरवरी में वाद्य विभाग के रीडर के रूप में काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय में प्रवेश किया। आपका विश्वास था कि कलाकार का कार्य उसे श्रेष्ठ बनाता है, न कि कोई ऊंचा पद। हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय में आने के बाद आपने संगीत शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में अनेक महत्वपूर्ण कार्य किए। आपने अथक परिश्रम के बाद ऐसी वीणा बनाई जिसमें भरत की सारणा चतुष्टयी की समस्त प्रक्रियाएं एक साथ की जा सकती हैं तथा भरत द्वारा बताई गई 22 श्रुतियों को प्रत्यक्ष सुना और व्यवहार करके देखा जा सकता है। इस वीणा पर अनेक भारतीय एवं पाश्चात्य विद्वानों ने स्तुतियां सुनी और समझी तथा आपकी उपलब्धि की भूरी भूरी प्रशंसा की। लालमणि जी ने भारतीय संगीत के प्राचीन, मध्यकालीन तथा आधुनिक वाद्यों का स्वरूपात्मक एवं प्रयोगात्मक अध्ययन किया तथा उसके फलस्वरूप आपने सिद्ध कर दिया कि सितार और तबला की उत्पत्ति में अमीर खुसरो का कोई संबंध नहीं था। सितार प्राचीन त्रितंत्रीय वीणा तथा तबला प्राचीन पुष्कर वाद्य के स्वाभाविक विकास के परिणाम है। आधुनिक सरोद तथा मध्यकालीन सुर सिंगार एवं रबाब प्राचीन चित्रा वीणा के विकसित रूप हैं। आपके इन अनुसंधानों ने संगीत के क्षेत्र में तहलका सा मचा दिया तथा अनेक भ्रांत धारणाएं निर्मूल हो गई। आपने अनेक प्रमुख शिक्षण संस्थानों तथा विश्वविद्यालयों को अपने पाठ्यक्रमों के निर्धारण एवं सुधार में योगदान दिया।
And in 1969 I was a freshman at the University of Pennsylvania, and I already had a sitar because I had been an exchange student to India the summer before when I was 16. And because I had a sitar, I was lucky that I could enroll in Dr. Misra's class, because I heard there was going to be a sitar class, and I called Dr. Powers about it, and he said, well, we don't have enough sitars. And I said, well, I have my own. Oh, where did you get it? And so I got admitted into the program. And I remember the first time I went to see the teachers, Dr. Misra and Gyamprakash Ghosh were both sitting there, and I remember thinking, oh, I hope he's the sitar teacher. And it was your father. He was the teacher, and he looked so pleasant and happy and calm. And Gyam Babu was much older and fidgeter, just older. And at that time, we were all very young. So I remember Dr. Powers introduced them. Then I was 17. And from the start, well, first he checked, most of us had instruments and knew the basics of da, ra, di, ra, da, and where the notes were. But I guess after that initial evaluation of where we all stood,
Yes.
he then began teaching us a rag Bhairavi.
Okay.
And he taught us he called it the composition, the gut. And then he would teach us different tons that he would improvise, and then we would do them, and he would call them out to us, and we would then play them together. We played in unison, and it must have sounded pretty good, because when we performed, people really appreciated it. Learning intensely, learning the music, and that's this group of us, that's all we cared about, was learning Indian music and working with your father. And he just had this magical way about him. He just like brought us together to do this work. And so after we all learned Bhairavi together, then he taught us different rags. Like I learned Puriya Dhanashri, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Right, yes.
And others learned
Yaman?
Bhimpalasi was one, I think.
Yes.
And then we learned different rags. We would all learn some of it,
Okay.
but the one student would get to expand on that rag and perform in it. So then the second performance we played different rags, the different students. The first performance we played in unison, all of us playing Bhairavi together, and it was quite sweet.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
And that's the teaching technique that I took from him
Right.
when I taught afterwards, that we all played in unison together.
Yes. Yes.
In his veena playing, I remember most of all in his alap, I remember Dr. Powers pointed it out. We all felt it when he played, but his treatment of the dying sound. He would play a note, and then you would listen to it until it died out completely. And then you would just relish that silence for just a moment before he would start the next movement. But he gave that peaceful rest to the note, and then he would move on. And that was one of his special things that he did in his playing. I think on the veena it was more possible, acoustically possible, than on the sitar. Lots of performances. performances at the university quite regularly. He would perform in the seminar, and then he would perform in special performances that the university would set up. And then he also started having performances in each of our homes.
Right.
So I lived in an apartment building, and one time I hosted his performance, and I think one of us played first, and then he gave a full performance. And so we did that in different people's houses. So it was really quite lovely. It was very special, very intimate group of people.
You also recorded several of his recitals, his concerts. So, which places do you remember he had given those concerts?
Oh, I remember recording them in Rochester, and then there were concerts all over Pennsylvania and out to the Midwest, all different colleges. They contacted the University of Pennsylvania, and the department made arrangements for him to go and perform in all these different colleges all around the country.
Yeah.
And so he was performing everywhere. I did not record all of his performances, but the ones that happened in the various houses, the very, what is the term?
Baitak.
There's a Muslim word, an Urdu word.
Baitak, mehfil.
Mehfil.
Yes.
It was the mehfil kind of environment. And those were the ones that I remember recording. And I think that's where he felt most comfortable.
Okay. So my name is Carolyn May Lucas, formerly known also as Carolyn Stupka and as Carolyn Yogini Tiwari. Beginning in 1968, I studied sitar with Ali Akbar Khan Saab in Berkeley and San Rafael, and with Nikhil Banerjee at the American Society for Eastern Arts summer program at Mills College, and the following year studying tabla with Kanai Dutt in the same program. I began studying singing with Dr. Lakshmi Ganesh Tiwari at Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut. And for that reason, I came to India, where we were married in December 1972. And late in December, I came to meet your father, who was my husband's music teacher, even though my husband was a vocalist, and spent many wonderful hours, even days, at your house, Ragini, the home of Dr. Lalmani Misra, in, I believe the address was E7 at Banaras Hindu University. So my husband was doing research on folk music of the Kanyakupta Brahmin women, for the most part, and times when he would go off to research, I would stay at your house. So I had many opportunities to speak with your father, who I'll call Guruji, and to listen to his music and to hear his concerts from time to time. So I have a couple of cogent memories, stories that I would like to tell. I was continuing to study singing with my husband and having a tabla player come to practice with me. And ultimately, I did give a 30-minute vocal recital at BHU, which was scary, but went off well, I think, considering my newness to the singing. Um, and my husband suggested that I ask your father about a particular rag. I think it was Rag Bhairavi. And so I asked whatever question it was I had, and I believe we were sitting at the dining table. And so I asked the question, and there was a very, very, very long pause. And I wondered if your father had heard me. So I waited, and I'm thinking, I'm 26, quite young, and I'm going, did he hear me? Would it be disrespectful if I asked the question again? But so I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and probably a minute went by before your father began to speak. And he started talking about the strangest things, spirits entering people's bodies and somebody jumping around like a monkey, a person jumping around like a monkey in a village. And I'm going, I was asking him about Rag Bhairavi. What is this all about? So after about probably 45 minutes of time, he brought it all around to answer the question about the rug. And it all made sense and it was beautiful and incredible and totally blew my mind. So that's one teaching experience that I really remember. So another experience that I would like to share is the first time I heard him play a concert, and so it was a concert in your home. I don't remember. It was a very big room that I didn't spend a lot of time in. It'd been a very, very hot day, and just the cool breeze coming in the nighttime was so relieving. And there was a big carpet, and the big, beautiful Vichitravina instrument, and was dressed beautifully and sat down and tuned up the instrument. He had a glass paperweight, a green glass paperweight egg that he used to use for sliding up and down the strings. Um, so when he began, there was just this incredible bong, incredible first sound of the instrument. Just grabbed my attention, and it just got the music got more and more complicated as time went on, and then the tabla player joined, and it was just so magical. It completely transported me. You probably could have knocked me over if you pushed on me. I didn't really know what was up and what was down at that point. It was really quite an incredible, borderlining, mystical experience. Being immersed in the sound of the music and the vibrations of the instrument on my body. So that was really quite incredible. He had such a sense of dignity about him. He was calm. He would choose his words wisely. Um, he kind of exuded love without speaking it directly. So on the one hand, I was kind of terrified, but on the other hand, I felt very comfortable. He had a fatherly feeling to him. I would I would say that it is both, and I would say that I can't really compare the three because they were so different. Ali Akbar Khan Sahib on sarod, of course, which is a much more percussive instrument, and Nikhil Banerjee on sitar, which is a more, I don't know, maybe angelic instrument, a more delicate instrument in a way, but each of them was unique. And a couple of weeks ago, after we first talked, um, I listened to the beginning, or maybe half, three quarters of the recording where I was playing the tambura, and I was struck now that I'm studying uh, composers for the piano, very, 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 and performers on the piano, I was struck by the way he bent the time, that he would pause, he would stretch things out, and I was very impressed with that. I'm just saying, like, a week or two ago, that clearly it was, there are people who are excellent players of the piano or of Indian instruments, and then there are people that are amazing. And so I have to say that your father was one of the amazing ones.